Screw it. We're unmuting now. Hello, everyone.
We are super professional.
Yeah,
we absolutely know what's going on.
We have
Do not worry.
absolutely no idea what we're doing. And literally, I was just about to go, hello, interwebs, welcome to Let's Fix... Oh, the camera's over there. Okay. I'm going to look up there a lot, because that's where the normal face cam is there. And I'm going to keep looking over there when the camera is actually over there.
And you've still actually got the camera there, so you're going to keep going, I am talking to a camera, and the camera has its lights on. Oh wait, that's the wrong camera. Hi, people.
If you came here for a show, you're in the wrong stream.
It's going to be entertainment of some form or another.
Yeah, so... Hello everyone. Last week we stuck out the pilot, which was just pre-recorded, nice and easy. However, this time we're trying it live, so we're still testing our format. I need to get the chat up in front of me, because at the moment all I have is the YouTube studio panel here, which is, I don't want it there, I want it here so I can be looking at it while I'm looking at the camera. So let's see, how do I view my own stream from here? Let's go, new tab, YouTube. Let's bring up that again. Oh my god. Oh. Right.
Extra professional.
Okay, right. Let's pause the stream and new, easier moderation. Nice. Can I have a pop-out chat? I can. Right, let's hide that.
Oh,
okay. It's not as bad as the WAN show.
I have questions and doubts.
Right, hello Tom as well. Good. Okay, I think we're good to go. We've got 12 people here. Welcome, all dozen of you. 4 of which are probably being generated by the number of windows we've got up here.
Yes, yeah. We are in fact actually just talking to ourselves and our multiple personalities.
Yeah. Hello Zolly, how's it going? Right, so now we need the notes. Don't know, what do you want in front of you?
I'm good. I'm fine.
All right.
I am more than capable of reading the chat off of that monitor.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, I think we're good to go. So let's get rid of this setting up, because I've still got the setting up thing in front of us, just across our faces. There we go. Let's get rid of that. We don't need that anymore. Right. Okay. I can hear my voice. Speak up, Hugh.
Hello.
Yep, good. They can hear you as well. Good. So I think our audio balance should be pretty good. Good. Hope you're both well. We're doing all right, thanks, Smug Monster. How are you doing? And hello, Mark MC as well. Good. Right. So let me get up our notes so we can see what things that we were going to talk about. We haven't made any new notes. We're just going to bring up the episode 1 notes and pick up some things that we didn't talk about there.
Yes. It's getting out of hand.
Oh yeah. So yeah, the intro for this last week it was the web show episode 1, the Pilot Menace. This one it was going to be episode 2. Now there are 2 of them, or now this is getting out of hand. Good. Right. Hello everyone. Wow, we're up to 32. People are trickling in, man. It's going well.
See, the title of the show makes absolute sense. It is entirely for the statistics.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, we appreciate that you're here, but statistics, man, statistics.
This was his idea. This was Carrot Dog's idea. Right.
It was coerced.
Okay, let's start talking about some stuff. So there's a couple of things that we're going to cover today. We've got a couple of subjects on our list of things to talk about. Also, I need to check in contributors. Good, that's going fine as well. There's nothing new in there. Good. And then there was a couple of other things that we were going to go to if we ran out of stuff to talk about. So, right. Let me embiggen what's in front of me so you can see it a bit more as well. Let's go 150 zoom there.
Enhance.
Zoom, enhance. Cool. So, do you want to talk about some things on the list, or do you want to go on to or do you just want to jump straight into the whole toolkit thing? I think the toolkit thing I think is a really good idea, where we discuss what we would put in our software toolkit.
Yes.
However, I feel like we should have a better setup of screens in front of us so we can open websites and stuff. We don't really have that set up at the moment, unless you want to.
I feel it's more of a discussion piece at the moment than hard and fast recommendations.
Sure.
It's a case of, because I know that what I have in mine is significantly different to what you had in yours. even though we were doing very similar things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a different philosophy on it. And also, I think it covers kind of a philosophy of what we're actually there to do when a home user comes in and says, I want you to fix my PC.
Yes, that's fair enough.
Because
Let's bring down our background music now that we're out of the intro. We do have, this is royalty-free music, but that was mainly just while we were doing the intro thing. There we go.
And whilst we were thingies and stuffing and maybe at some point actually making sense. We'll get there.
Hello all the new people who've trickled in to say hello, by the way, as well.
Yes.
Is that a young was? No. I'm flattered, though.
It's an is.
Sure.
I don't know what was. But
I'm assuming.
Now.
I'm assuming he was referring to Steve Wozniak.
Ah.
Yeah, I think that was the potential reference there.
Oh, okay. Yes.
So yeah, high praise. I wouldn't claim such a thing, but yeah,
no.
BGM was fine. Yeah, it was, but that was just a quick last minute. Oh, I need something playing while we set up.
Something to show that this hasn't actually frozen, and it is actually running and working. So yes, but we are running and working.
Yeah, people still fix PCs. They sure do. So, yeah, for those of you who are not familiar, so, I mean, this is Adamant IT. I fix computers for a living here. People bring me their broken stuff and we fix them. So let's get cracking. So yeah, okay, so software toolkits. So
absolutely. And also, just to cover, I ran with a friend who was a mutual friend of the two of us, a computer repair shop, which was fixing home computers, small business, home office, get-ups. We also did slightly more of the IT support contract side than Adamant IT did, Graham did.
Yeah.
So we also touched on that a little bit more. But it was very interesting how, as two shops in reasonably close proximity, we ended up with very similar ideas on what counted as fixed and what was a good way of fixing things and what the end result should be. But it was the way that we got there, I think, was a little bit different, and also kind of the things that we're kind of willing to...
Yes.
The things that we're willing to go, no, you're doing it wrong, this is how you should be doing it, and kind of tell users they're wrong on.
Yeah, that's right, because that's a topic of major contention that pops up in my video comments now and then as well, is when when I've got one or two videos about servicing computers and stuff like that. And in those videos, I do say sort of, I set up the visual preferences like so, because I think this gives a clean look that is good for the customer. And I've had people in my comments who've been like, it's not your choice to change any of that. You can't change that. And I'm like, well, this is what I think works best for most people. So yeah,
absolutely. And it's also the case that you get a feeling for who that customer is when they bring in the device.
Yes.
And some of the time you kind of look at it and go, wow, this is a complete mess. But from the conversation I had with the customer when they brought it in, they set it up like this.
Yeah.
It's a curated mess as opposed to just stuff happened and oh my god, I'm overwhelmed with stuff everywhere.
Yeah, and you know it as soon as you see it as well.
Yeah.
When you start servicing a laptop, you can tell when the icons have been arranged in a specific way and when that's just all the guff that came preloaded on the computer. So you
can tell the difference between setup and that one Mac where the icons are tiled 6 levels deep.
Pretty much. So yeah, just quickly catch up on the chat a little bit. How long have we been working? How long have you been working in your own shop? This Adamant IT has been running, which is my shop, has been running for 10 years now, more or less. So yeah, I worked in other shops for 3 or 4 years before this as well. So I've had 3 or 4 years in shops that are owned by other people, 10 years in my own place. Then Caradog, how long were you working with a mutual friend for?
I was working with them for 10 years.
Yeah. Because you guys were doing background projects all the time anyway, weren't you?
But we were actually running it as a shop together for 5 years.
Really? I think, was it that long?
I think it was 4 pushing 5 years by the end of it. But it was a case of we set it up together at school when we were 13 or something like that. So it's a case of there's actually a long run on that where where we had been doing it for a lot longer than it appeared that we should have been.
Yes. Fair enough.
So yes,
Yep.
so it's a case, but with that it was like, and I think also a lot of the contention, actually looping it back to the topic at hand, was a case of a lot of the contention was the fact that all three of us were ardently against third-party antivirus, even back on like Vista and Windows 7.
Yeah.
Because Defender was...
As soon as Microsoft Security Essentials came out, that just killed third-party antivirus dead. I'm trying to lean on this wall and it's not working very well. I'm going to stop doing that.
It made it so much less necessary to do anything unless you knew you had a use case for it. It was one of those things where it was like, I know I need X feature, and it's a case of you're not going to be coming to us when you know you need X feature of Y antivirus.
Yes.
Because you're already above the level of clientele that we're servicing.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Freezing.
Lagertech says, should I buy a new PC before Christmas or March? So new Ryzen 5000 now, obviously, well, we were expecting Ryzen 4000, but current word on the wire is they're skipping that and it's going to be 5000, which is a good thing because of multiple reasons.
Because I want a 5700 XT as both my GPU and CPU.
Yeah, that's a problem as well.
That's gonna go super well on trying to explain that to people in their laptops.
Yes.
Hi, I have an HP with a 5000... what's it going to be?
At least we'll be able to agree. Well, God help AMD if they release a 5000 series CPU that is Zen 2 architecture.
They are.
No.
You know it. You know it's going to happen.
If there's a 5200G and a 5400G that is the previous generation of architecture, I will be very, very angry about it. So yeah. However, to answer the question, do we know when the announcement on that is going to be yet? Is there
8th and 8th and 26th, 8th and 28th. Someone will correct me in chat.
Is that of October or November?
But that's October.
So
we are getting
wait for the announcement.
We're getting Zen 3 first on the 8th, RDNA 2 second on the 20-something.
Yeah.
Latest rumours I have seen about the RX 6000 series.
Yeah.
Numbers. Is that we're going to be looking at something around 10% more than a 3080 at the very top end.
Damn, bro.
In performance,
Yeah.
whilst being priced at slightly less than the 3070.
Fair
which
enough.
is going to be ridiculous, because I imagine AMD's margin on that is going to be 0.
Yeah, sure.
But it's also going to...
The TLDR then is, considering we're already into October, if you haven't built your computer, wait for the announcement at least.
Yeah.
And then make your decision. Because in the announcement, they might say, yeah, it'll be out. If they turn around and say it will be out first quarter 2021, just buy a new computer. Whereas if they turn around and say, yes, it's going to be available in a week, then you can wait for it, you know.
Yeah, exactly. It's also the case of, it depends on the reason why you need to replace your computer. If you're looking at it and going, I need a new computer to do my job today, you have to buy what's available now. If it's a case of, I need a new computer now, imminently, you're going to have to buy what's available now, because supplies are restricted on so many components anyway.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Right now, it's a case of, yeah, if you're ready to buy, if you're ready to open your... Well, in any case, wait for the announcement. However, at that announcement, if they say that it's going to be another 2 or 3 months, just buy a Ryzen 3000 now. You know, like, you buy a 3700X or something like that, there's still a cracking CPU, you know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Answering a couple of other questions. I'm not going to be able to answer all the questions we see in the chat. We had no idea how busy chat was going to be. The answer to that is too busy for us to answer every question, but I'll do what I can. And it looks like we're just going to be doing Q&A here, I guess, and talk about
which is amazing, and
this
means
is
that
great.
we don't have to do quite so much planning.
Yeah, it basically means that we don't. You guys are doing the work for us here, so thanks for that. Someone mentioned about doing board repair in the shop. I already do, but it's what I refer to as experimental repairs. So I say to the customer in advance, you know, that it's experimental repairs. I don't charge that much for board repairs. However, the catch is your computer might be sitting here for a month while I scratch my head over it. That's the catch with board repair jobs. And likewise, I only generally go for board repair. I generally work on board repair ones if I think I know what I'm doing with it. So most of the videos you guys have seen me do with board repair have been very simple stuff with power issues, like short on VC main, that kind of thing. Those ones are the easy ones that you guys see me doing videos on. As soon as I see an issue which I think might be silicon, so it's a logic level issue, normally I immediately abandon ship on those. I will have a look into it just in case, but usually those, I sense a rabbit hole and I'd be like, nope, I'm done. And I say to the customer, normally what I say to them is I usually say to them that I believe it can be fixed, especially if I think I know what's wrong with it, but I say, but this one's beyond my skill to fix. So we can either discuss replacing the computer, we can discuss getting a second-hand motherboard, or if you want, you're more than welcome to try talking to other computer shops that may have better board repair skills than me. And I say to them, there's no obligation there and there's no hard feelings if you want to pass it over to someone else to have a swing at it.
Yeah, and I think that carries a lot of favour with people as well when you're willing to go, I'm happy to look at this and use this to learn, but I'm not guaranteeing a good result. Yeah. And it's a case that someone else probably will know more about this. I can look at this, I can understand it, but I've not done it before, kind of thing. And explaining to people that you know your limitations, people seem to be so much more willing to kind of go, okay, he seems to know what his limits are. I'll let him have a look at it.
Transparency is worth its weight in gold, because like when I first started my YouTube channel, when I first started the Adamant IT YouTube channel, loads of people were saying sort of, oh, you're giving away all your trade secrets. You're showing people how to do it. And it's like, that hasn't been the case at all. Most people take one look at what the work I'm doing and go, screw that, I'll pay him to do it, because, most people don't want to fix their own computers, even if they knew how to do it. It's a lot like servicing your car. Most people who own a car, they know that changing the oil, oh yeah, you've got to undo the sump plug at the bottom, drain the oil out, then put the sump plug back on, pour new oil in and stuff. And they know how to do it. They just don't want to, And it's the same issue here, is that showing people what you're doing and being fully transparent curries an awful lot of favour with them. And that generally results in much, much more than being really shady. When people go, when people don't want to talk about what they do and when people don't want to share their methods, a lot of people read that as, that means you think you're doing something sketchy or you don't think it's worth what you're charging for it and things like that. Certainly when someone, like now and then I'll get comments from someone saying, oh, you're not doing it right or something. And I'll be like, well, how would you do it? Genuine question. How do you think I could improve? Yeah. And they'll be like, oh, I'm not going to tell you that. And I'm like, see, to me, that means either A, you're lying and you don't know, or B, you don't think that your skill has enough weight and value to be worth what you're charging for it. That's how I read that. Yeah. So being transparent with people and telling the truth carries enormous amounts of favour and will probably get you more business and more friendships in the long run.
Absolutely. And obviously it's a case of, it depends on exactly what you're doing, because saying like, oh yes, this is precisely how X, Y, and Z component is manufactured is a completely different kettle of fish to me going, this is me showing you fixing a device. There's a huge difference in the information exchange and obviously the sensitivity of that information. And kind of going to someone, if you want, I'll show you how I service a computer. You're not telling them anything particularly groundbreaking on you or secret to you. What's special is that you're willing to do it, that you've put the time in to find out that those things are worth doing, and that you know how to make those things work and make them do things and how they improve things. And if they don't work, what that indicates might be broken. Because some of the time you'll look at something and go, oh, interesting, this utility has failed in this way. Oh, that seems like X, Y, and Z dependency is broken. You'll see that and you'll notice that. And it's like the fact of, as we've said many times when looking at computers and kind of going, oh, this feels, oh, the hard drive's dying. Yeah. You just feel a computer and you suddenly just go, nope, the drive's dying. Yeah, we're backing that up.
You can't tell people how you know that in a video. That's just only experience knows that when you just sit in front of a computer and you start using it, you just sense what the problem is.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's just an experience thing. And yeah, that's an interesting thing as well, because it's like, if I start showing board repairs, what works for me in that video, like, and this is another classic thing, is people will often look at like a board repair video where I soldered a particular thing on the board and they'll be like, oh, I can't find that component on my board. And I'm like, well, no, it might not even be that component on your board.
Yeah.
You should not be parroting what you see me doing in the video. You should be looking at my method, the train of thought, how I'm reaching my conclusions. That is what you need to be learning from these videos.
Yeah, exactly. And what the board is showing you that led you there.
That's
or
right.
what it's not showing you that led you there.
And that's the thing, just that single video is not releasing trade secrets in the same way that having the schematics for a laptop is not revealing how to build that laptop. Like, I can look at the schematics for a MacBook Pro, and I can even have the board view that shows me the board layout. That doesn't mean I can manufacture my own MacBook Pro, not by a long shot.
No, absolutely.
So there's more to it than that.
Yeah, absolutely. And not just purely from a time point of view either. It's a case of, actual skills, actual access to equipment, and a whole multitude of things. So, yeah.
Cool. A couple of other quick ones. The tech setup we're doing at the moment, the camera is a Logitech Brio, which is technically a 4K camera that we're currently running at 1080p 60 frames a second. It's the main camera that I use for shooting my videos. So yes, we are recording with a webcam. The secret is lights.
Yeah, absolutely.
The lights make it look good. And the camera, as someone did spot, is indeed a Samsung CO1U, which is the microphone that I use, which is, in my opinion, the best USB podcasting mic. Because it's not very expensive and it's really rather good.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's exactly the same one I have at home.
Yeah.
And I was looking because I wanted to start fiddling around with audio interfaces, and I kind of went, I already have this Samsung mic. I should get the XLR version of it. So I've got the same mic, but XLR, so I know the mic I'm playing around with when I'm playing with interfaces. I'm reducing kind of variables I'm playing with, and things are kind of more contained into a channel.
That makes sense.
I couldn't think of a decent...
Yeah. And also, since I've seen it coming up a couple of times, so I guess I should address it, social distancing, we are sitting apart. We're avoiding talking into each other's faces kind of thing. So, yes. Yeah,
it's also a case of, certainly, at least in my case, I'm staying away from basically everyone else.
Yeah.
In a sense of, I'm effectively isolating, which means that we can do this more so.
Yeah, pretty much that. So, yeah, obviously there's always a little bit of toing and froing, but we are taking care, so don't worry about it. Let me see, what else? I was about to say something else, and then the kiss before going online. Ooh. Yeah, that you guys don't. Well, you have to subscribe. You have to subscribe to me on Twitch to get the live stream of that one. There's a joke in there somewhere.
Yes.
Let me see. There was something else I was going to say, but I've lost it now. Someone mentioned, how do I know how much more memory to put in my computer? You need to check, if you Google search for the model number of your motherboard, bring up the manufacturer's webpage for it, that'll tell you what the maximum amount of RAM is that it can take. Most desktop motherboards will you said you had 16 gigs of RAM. Most desktop motherboards will happily take 32 at least. So you're probably good for 32 gigs of RAM. Although for a gaming PC, you probably don't need it. Most people don't need more than 16 unless they are doing either workstation loads, so a la you're doing Photoshop with billboard-sized documents, or if you are a very, very heavy user. For example, if you're a professional game streamer and you're running AAA games, streaming it at the same time with all of the streaming rig running at the same time, you might start wanting more than 16 at that point.
Also, people who use things like Docker and VMs.
Oh, yes. Yep, VMs and stuff. Yep, that's very true.
That stuff will obviously chew up. And because Shakes Fist at VMware Workstation with its lack of dynamic memory. Yeah.
I had a friend drop in today with an X299 build, so Intel Xeon 10th Gen that he was working on. I can't give you all the details because I'm not sure how much of it I'm allowed to tell you. However, suffice to say, I saw X299. I'm like, why though? And he was just like, and he was saying how he's doing network simulations with it. So he was doing network simulations, and he was just like, I need 64 gigs of RAM, and that's not enough, but that's all I can afford right now, kind of thing. And apparently, he picked up that CPU for, let me say, it was a song because of connections he had. Nice. And when he told me the price of it, I was like, it was less than the cost of an i7. And I was like, yes, that is a good reason not to be building Threadripper. I was going to say, why are you not building Threadripper? And he was just like, because I paid this much for it. And I'm like, Good answer.
Yeah,
So, yes.
absolutely. It's shocking how your kind of buying suggestions change when someone goes, yes, I bought it for like 10% less than market value. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, fair enough.
What air compressor do I use? One from McDonald's, and that's not even a joke. My air compressor is probably older than most of the people in the chat. It is my dad. Once upon a time, was used to work as a maintenance guy for McDonald's. So he would go between McDonald's branches, and he was doing maintenance on the refrigeration units and stuff like that. And for some reason or other, some of the refrigerations or equipment had air compressor units on them. No idea why. And the air compressor I use is actually from one of those. So it's some old thing, probably from the late 80s at best. And he had it sitting in his garden shed where he was tinkering with motorbikes for years. And when I started my shop, I was like, Dad, can I have your air compressor? Because I'm starting a computer shop and you don't use it. And he was just like, but that's mine. But I don't use it. Yes, you can have my air compressor. And that's so I have probably about a 40-year-old air compressor for that reason.
Yes.
So yeah. 50, you're a kid. Oh, okay, you get that one. Yeah, yeah. All right, you win. Well done. Well done.
But yeah, I think that's also the other thing. The wonderful thing is seeing, just the huge age demographic in this.
Yes.
Or the breakdown of age demographic is just the huge range of ages that are able to be interested
I love
and
it, yeah.
engage with all of the kind of stuff and the content that you create.
Yeah.
Is just seeing the fact that obviously YouTube doesn't go below 17 on its age breakdowns, I don't think.
No, it doesn't, yeah.
So it's a case of, but you can look at that and it's like there's a solid grouping between 17 and like 40.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, that makes sense. But then there are people in there who's like 50, 60, 70, and you're just like, it's amazing. I'm so pleased that these people are still able to be interested and still feel that this content is relevant to them.
Yeah, yeah, and I love that. I love the diversity. I love seeing people here saying, where was that other? I just saw on there. Yeah, Terry Marshall's 72 here and still learning. That's awesome, and I'm really honoured that there are people here that out-age me by such a margin and are still more than happy to look to my content and learn new things. That's brilliant to me.
Yeah, and I think
on a very similar note as well is, there's Chris in the chat there that just said, I'm hooked on your videos, and the weird thing is I'm not into electronics and stuff. Your character is just so enticing, your laid-back attitude and mannerisms are simply lovely. So it's just, again, people who are not even interested in doing this stuff themselves, but just like watching me do it. And that's really cool. And like, I feel that as well, because that's the same reason why I watch The Lock Picking Lawyer. I'm not going around, I'm not picking any locks, but it's really relaxing to watch him pick locks.
Oh yes, so, your ex-girlfriend's back door.
Yes. Only Lock Picking Lawyer subscribers will understand that. Hey, Alan Smith with a £30 super chat. A donation for beard oil or beers. Thank you very much. I actually have beard oil, but I never get around to using it. I've used it a couple of times, but the problem is you've got to build it up. And then every time I actually take a shower and shampoo it, I feel like I'm washing it out. I don't know if I'm doing it wrong. However, if nothing else, thank you very much for the super chat. It'll get used for various things, I'm sure.
Yes. I feel like almost in a way you kind of need like a list or something here of like, donations to projects.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many things that we're working on at the moment, though. That's the thing. Like, at the moment, like, to do a bit of a summary, I'm sure that lots of you guys that are here are probably people who've obviously been following the big boom of the channel over the past few months. And lots of people have... there's loads of people that have subscribed to the Patreon, who have subscribed to me on Twitch, and who are giving monetary support to the channel, which I'm absolutely blown away by the support for. And so, just as an update on what's happening with all of that, obviously I said in the announcement videos that I was working on getting a bigger shop, and that's still a thing that's happening. There's no movement on it yet, because I said it would take a few months, and it will take some months. However, just... insider information, there is a shop down the high street that I've currently got my eye on, and I've got my name with the people who currently have the shop as someone who is interested in it, and I'm waiting for news back on that one. So if they get back to me and go, yes, we're interested in talking to you about leasing this shop, then that might be when the big movements start happening. And then there'll be a lot of stuff on bigger shop, setting up big workbenches, having demo rigs, all the stuff that I wanted to do. And that's when things will really start moving. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, and also possibly actually having the space to be able to not clip a video every 5 seconds as someone rattles at the door.
Yes, and that would be nice because, yeah, the front door is about a metre away from where I'm sitting. So, yeah, when whatever. Ever fiddled with a 2005 water-cooled Mac Pro? I've never seen one of them, actually. I know they exist, but
was that official?
Yeah. Yep.
Huh.
Yep. It wasn't a Mac. That would have been the G5, unless I'm mistaken. Oh no, it would have been a Mac Pro at 2005. There was a water-cooled G5, and I didn't realise there was a water-cooled Mac Pro. Could you confirm that one for me? But the water-cooled ones of that era, yeah, because there was the single CPU one.
Yeah.
The dual CPU one, and then there was dual CPU with water cooling, because certainly with the G5, the G5 produced more heat than a small sun. Because, yeah, it was one of the reasons why Apple were moving away from PowerPC, because PowerPC did evolve further, but it wasn't in the place where Apple needed it at the time that they switched to Intel, which is the long and the short of that. But yeah, there was indeed a water-cooled version. However, it wasn't very popular because you only got like a 1-month warranty instead of a 3-year warranty with the water-cooled one.
So you got how long?
Oh, sorry, a 1-year warranty instead of a 3-year warranty. Yeah,
I was going to say a 1-month warranty. Excuse me.
Well, this is Apple, But yeah, at any rate, yeah. So they said. So you only got a 1-year warranty with the water-cooled ones instead of the 3-year warranty, and unfortunately, that basically kind of told you about how confident they were about the water cooler. And hey-ho, I believe that over time they did prove to be significantly less reliable than the air-cooled ones. I'm not convinced it was necessary because the Tower Mac Pros and the Tower G5s, yeah, at full tilt they were loud, but that was what it took to run a workstation. It wasn't server loud. It was just, loud tower. Certainly, compared to how loud some other computers can get, it wasn't really that bad. I don't think the water cooling was really necessary, but I've never got to look at one though, so I don't know what they look like inside.
Unless it was kind of a thing, I don't know. It was done for a specific partner or something, and they just went, "Oh, we can also sell this as a product."
Oh yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Because obviously, if someone goes to you, I need to buy 25,000 of your Mac Pros, but I need them to be water cooled for XYZ project. When you're buying 25,000 of a computer, Apple's going to turn around and go, we'll see if it's feasible. Yeah. And also we'll sell the project kind of thing on. Yeah. I guess, maybe.
That could have been it. So yeah, let me see. This is the quad 2.5 gigahertz G5 and still not leaks. Okay. But needs looking at. What happened to it then? What needs looking at it on it? I mean, I'm probably not going to be able to look at it for you because of logistics, but it'd be interesting to know anyway. Let me see. Xeon Phi's. Is it Phi?
Faux fum. I smell the blood of an Englishman.
I have not messed with them, I'm afraid, no. I don't get to look at exotic stuff very often, unfortunately, because I'm mainly consumer focused. I have limited knowledge of the Xeon Phi's, only from watching other YouTube channels. As far as I can tell, what it is it is effectively a CPU, but each core, a coprocessor, isn't it? Each core is dumb by comparison to a normal CPU core, so it can do far less stuff, is clocked much slower, but there are way more of them. There's 190 plus of them. It's parallel computing, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. And each one of them can run 4 operations per core, so you get 4 threads per core. And there's a maximum of 192 of them or something like that. And they're designed for workloads that don't require clock speed. They require massive CPU parallelization. Parallelism? Parallel. Oh, no, I'm not going to try it now. Parallelism. Yeah. There we go. On English. On that bombshell. Anders Blomqvist, sorry if I'm butchering your name, has donated 50 SEK. Swedish krona, thank you. I was about to say, please tell me you know what SEK is, because I don't. Swedish krona. Thank you very much for the super chat there. What is your he asks, what is your favourite pre-built computer ever build? So my favourite off-the-shelf brand, per se. Favourite system integrator. Yeah. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that one? To start us off,
old Alienware before they were bought by Dell was I thought they hit the niche that they were looking at really well. I thought that Scans XXS,
3XS,
yep. They're really, really good. Certainly for their laptops, they're certain models of the 3XS ones, they're blatant Clevo rebrands. They don't bother hiding the fact, but they make them as really functional bricks. They're not designed to be pretty. They're not designed to be anything. They're just designed to be as best performance as you can get with chunky cooling and stuff like that. So it depends what you're looking at, but I like it from that perspective.
I was never a big fan of Alienware, to be honest, but that's because I never liked their aesthetic. Because you know, the alien cases and stuff. I get why people liked it, but it was never my cup of tea. I think, to be honest, my preferred brands have always. I think there's no real sort of superstar brands. It's probably a really boring answer, but my answer is probably PC Specialist. I don't know if they operate outside of the UK, but PC Specialists seem to be one of those ones where you can't really go wrong with a PC Specialist, in my opinion. They're not very interesting, but...
It will at least be good enough.
Yeah.
There's been a couple that I've seen where you've just been kind of like, oh, this is a bit disappointing, but it's not being a case of like, this is crap.
Yeah, and also they don't use any proprietary parts, so at the very least a PC Specialist build is something that you can work up from. Yeah. Whereas by comparison, if you've got like an Alienware, the chances are that's riddled with proprietary stuff that is difficult to replace or upgrade.
Because Dell.
Yeah, and same with the Acer pre-builds. That's probably got too much exotic stuff in it as well.
Yeah, and potentially that might get worse in a sense because system integrators are going to be forced to move over to the 12-volt only power supplies. Oh
yeah, and that's going to be really bad because that's going to really restrict your motherboard choices, isn't it?
Because you're going to be only able to use 12-volt only motherboards.
Yeah. So, I wonder if we'll start seeing that. Actually, this is super interesting. When the 12 volt VO or 12
volt only.
12 volt only, yeah. When the 12 volt only standard really rolls in, I reckon we're going to start seeing accessories where you can buy effectively a converter box, where you can plug in an ATX power supply into a box, which then gives you your other things, or it just converts an ATX system to a 12 VO motherboard or vice versa or something like that allows people to customize.
Maybe, but I don't see the market being big enough just because of the number of people who buy off the shelf machines, then do absolutely nothing with it, and then chuck it 10 years later and go, oh, this was a bit crap all the time.
Yeah, that's true. That's a fair choice. Kind of, and plus also, if you're doing major upgrades on your computer, replacing your motherboard and your power supply is not really that big of a deal.
Yeah, exactly. If you're already at the point of replacing your motherboard, you're not really upgrading that computer anymore. You're kind of already replacing everything else anyway.
And likewise, even if you end up replacing most of the parts of the computer, even if you just keep the case and your drives, you're still knocking 100 or 200 quid off of the bill anyway.
Yeah, so, exactly. Yeah. So it's okay. So it's still cost saving even kind of from that perspective. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, maybe.
Getting a couple of things in. Just to quickly answer one, just to stop people backing up. My Twitch channel, I'll bash that into the chat in just a moment. There was also identifying faulty ICs. If it's got a crater in it, then it's probably faulty. The only other way to know is to ask yourself, is a faulty IC, is the IC doing what it's supposed to do? So you need to look at the signals going into the chip and coming out of the chip and check if it's doing what it's supposed to do. Classic case in point, if you've got a, let's say you've got a 5-volt regulator on a laptop motherboard, that 5-volt regulator is going to be receiving V-in, which powers the chip. It's going to be receiving it's going to have V-in, which will probably be about 5 volts going into the chip. It's going to have an enable signal coming probably from the PCH to tell the chip to turn on. So that needs to have voltage on it. And then when it's actually running, it's going to have a P-good, power good pin. And that is going to be a signal going out of the chip back to somewhere like the PCH. And that will be the chip saying, I am on and I am operating. So if you've got power going into your chip, but you've got no P-good signal coming out of it, it's probably a dead chip. That's the train of thought that goes into determining if the IC is faulty. Or failing that, if the chip is heating up, if a chip that is not supposed to be cooled is heating up, or if it's got a crater in it, it's probably dead. Twitch channel, I'll get in. Then also we've got another super chat here from Joji Vlogs, I think, if I've got that right. Would you say that CEX is a suitable counterpart to Micro Center here in America? If not, what would you like to see? I'd love to have a Micro Center in the UK. I don't think there's enough of a market for it. However, I would love it. CEX, as far as I'm concerned, don't fit the bill. I'm not going to lie, I don't like CEX.
I was trying to. I didn't process CEX as being the red shop with the logo, because all of their branding and so on sells their brand as sex.
Ugh. Why? Who thought that was a good idea?
Their branding is sex.
Yeah.
Right? Their website is WeBuy. Their name is CEX. It breaks all the rules of marketing and building a consistent brand. Yet apparently it works, and I'm not really going to comment on that for reasons that may become apparent in future episodes.
At the very least, I'm not a fan of CEX. I've seen too many friends who've bought lemons from them. Too many friends who've bought hardware or stuff from CEX that has either been blatantly not what they claimed it was, or just straight up faulty to the point where I'm just like, you guys didn't even test this before you sold it. You know, and so... and some people have said, oh, you just bought from a bad branch. It was just a bad branch. I'm like, these are people from like 3 different regions in the country. So at least 3 different branches. So not a fan of CEX. Would love to have somewhere where I can just go and buy components though. You know, like the good old days in the 90s where local computer shops like mine would have used to sell components. There's no money in that these days. As far as I'm concerned.
Even for the like AIBs, they're looking at a margin of less than 10% on a GPU, and they don't have to hold stock of it particularly because it's transient. Yeah. Obviously, when you're looking to hold stock in something in a shop, you're looking for a margin much bigger than 10%. Yeah. So it's a case of it just doesn't work. Amazon kind of killed computer shops stocking stuff.
I buy all my stuff from Amazon. Yeah, most of the spare parts I'm putting into people's computers I buy from Amazon because it's the cheapest place to get it, and I can order it at 10 p.m. at night and have it on my doorstep first thing the next morning for free. Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, before that, I was buying everything from eBuyer because eBuyer, you could order up to 11 p.m. at night and get 6 a.m. guaranteed delivery. Yeah. However, that cost you £45 on your order. Yeah. So obviously, when you're doing critical stuff, when you've gone 11 o'clock at night, crap, X, Y, and Z component in this server has failed, I need parts as app, 45 quid is nothing. Yeah. It's just like £45 to be ready for 9 a.m. Yeah. I will pay £45. Hell, I'll pay 450 quid for that. Yeah. You know, it's a case of...
you need it.
Yeah, they knew what their market was and what they're aiming for, and eBuyer is aimed now slightly more at that commercial type stuff. Yep. They're doing an awful lot more of the quoting stuff. But yes, PC World Business is kind of what I'd say is our equivalent to like Micro Center now. Because they have all of the PT World stores. The people in there don't necessarily know anything, but that's not particularly important. What is important is they will price match Amazon and everyone else.
I haven't been into a PC World in a very long time, which is not like, that's not me making a statement. That's just, I just haven't been to a PC World in a very long time. Yeah. You know, I kind of feel like at some point I should next time I'm going past one, I should probably drop in and just look around just so I know in my head what kind of things I can buy from a PC World these days.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I went into the one near us, down near us, which is the biggest one locally. And
so I just need to make sure that my battery charger here isn't about to explode. No, it's fine. I heard a fan ramp up on the desk, and when you're in a computer shop, when you suddenly hear a fan ramp up, you're like, what's overheating? And it's just like, oh, it's just this battery that's charging with loose wires in front of me. That's fine. It'll be fine. Sorry, carry on.
Oh, Lord. Yes, anyway, I was saying I went into a PC World and they had actual gaming computers set up with gaming monitors, high refresh rate monitors. Okay. So you could actually sit down in front of computers with an internet connection, with Fortnite installed, and run around playing Fortnite. Yeah. With all of the stuff on there. And I was just like, this is excellent. This demonstrates what a gaming computer can be to basically anyone who cares to look. And it allows you to look at various different models of gaming monitor and go, do I need this 240Hz monitor? Can I see a difference between it and this 161 or the 61?
There's a lot of value in that, yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's amazing. And they had all of their stupid gaming chairs out. So you could sit in them and go, oh wow, this is a really crap chair. I'm not spending £400 on a gaming chair. I'm not biased against gaming chairs, don't worry.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to sponsor.
Yeah. I have a suspicion that gaming chairs are on the way out, to be honest, actually, because I know a lot of streamers who got themselves gaming chairs, and these days they're just like, oh yeah, this chair is getting broken, and just like, man, this thing didn't last very long.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think the bubble on gaming chairs is actually starting to burst as people realise that gaming chairs are not actually very good, and the people who've been making office chairs for X many decades actually probably know a thing or two about comfort.
Exactly.
But...
I was about to call them Harman Kardon, but they're speakers. The chair manufacturer, whose name I've entirely forgotten. Oh no. They partnered with Logitech to make a gaming chair, but it was an actual proper office chair with kind of gamery features on it.
The Logitech version of it is actually cheaper than the one they sell, though.
Yeah.
Which is interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah. I imagine that Logitech is subsidising
Herman Miller, that's the one, isn't it?
Thank you.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, someone who can translate from that to actual brand names.
Yeah.
Oh dear. But yes.
Let me see. Is there anything else I missed there? Oh, I'm not sure. The chat has flowed by very quickly. So yeah.
I'm genuinely amazed that there are so many people in the chat and that it has been moving so much. I was kind of slightly concerned for a moment when we went live that it was going to be like 4 people watching and there was going to be no one talking in chat, and we're just going to be like, let's ignore that we're live and let's just talk. But no, it's been insane. And I just saw someone saying about Micromart. Yes, I remember Micromart. I was a subscriber to Micromart for 10 years, something like that. I was reasonably active on their forum and on their chat room. And yeah, it was a good place. And it was kind of my first introduction to a chat room that was actually somewhat moderated. And actually had people having adult conversations, meaning, grown-up conversations, civil conversations about in-depth topics, as opposed to the mudslinging that you sometimes get on the internet.
Yes, yeah.
And yeah, it was just, it was such a good, good introduction to such things, and it's where I got into folding at home.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, because you've been folding for a long time, haven't you?
Since 2007.
Yeah. Just a quick one. Yes, I think it is that one. I think is a 9800 Pro. Oh no, it's that one. I think that's probably the 9800 Pro. Someone just pointed out. Every now and then, someone spots a particular board on the wall, and they're like, "Is that an X?" And I'm like, "I'm not sure." Sometimes they have it written on the back, and sometimes they don't. But this is a high-end ATI card. I know my products well. But yeah.
I kind of want a Crossfire 1800X computer, but at the same time I'm like, or I could not.
Yeah. What was that card that popped up in the Discord recently?
Oh, the 295X2.
Oh yeah, the 295X2. Which was just the Crossfire on a single card. Yeah. And it was quite fun. I can't remember who posted it, but someone posted it and they were just like, oh yeah, this thing will trade blows with an XYZ, and I'm just like, yeah, in 3D Mark. That's it, kind of thing.
3D Mark 2001 with its Matrix gun fight. When
did I see that? Oh yeah, I saw that recently. Went on a Linus Tech Tips video, and I was like, God, that takes me back. That was the coolest thing in the world back in the day.
Yeah.
Let's see.
But yes, and like the monster truck chase and stuff, and then the missiles and the dragon flying over and breathing fire on those archers.
Yeah, oh, it was rad.
Yeah, and being like, wow, I can get 7 frames a second. Isn't it smooth?
Yeah. Right. A couple of people have been saying, oh, Stream Deck. I would really like to have a Stream Deck both here and at home when I'm doing my gaming streams on my Twitch channel, which I shall now put into the chat, which I said I would. However, I like the Stream Deck, but I don't like it enough to pay the asking price for it. I think it's reasonably well priced. I just don't need one badly enough to pay that for it. Because I think the Stream Deck is about £100 or something like that.
Really?
I
thought it was like $280.
Oh, that's for like the big one.
Okay.
There's 3 sizes. There's a little one which is 6 buttons, a medium one which I think is 12 buttons. Someone in the chat will correct me. And then there's the huge one. Yeah, the medium-sized one, I think, is about £100 or so, 80 or £100.
Let me see. For that price,
I mean,
yeah, I can kind of see it.
Well, that's
but
just
at the
it.
same
However,
time,
all it does is let me just... I mean, I can have a couple of hot buttons to do effects if I want to, but I don't do that anyway. The really cool part about it is just for scene switching, so you can jump between OBS scenes. But the problem is
cool.
Yeah, and like that's useful because it's less hassle than doing it with the mouse. But am I willing to pay £100 for a device that does something that I can do for free with the mouse? Yeah, you know.
Also, does Logitech Hub not allow you to macro exactly the same actions? Because I'm pretty sure they've got some functionality in there to integrate with OBS and stuff. So you could just macro it on a mouse.
Yeah.
For free.
Yeah. Or you could buy just like a USB numpad and use that or something like that. That's the problem. But like the Stream Deck has got the little OLED displays on the keys so you can have them labeled and stuff. And so it's like, it's a really cool device and I really like it. Again, I just don't want one badly enough to spend the money on it. So
all we need to see now is someone playing the original Doom on a Stream Deck using the Stream Deck as the screen and the input device.
Yeah. Oh, Dark Rose says, what I'm hearing is if we donate enough money for you to get the Stream Deck, I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying anything. However, links to my OnlyFans and Patreon and oh man, there was a joke that you made way back when that I should make an OnlyFans that is literally pictures of computer fans.
Yes.
And I would have done it, but their terms and conditions state that it actually has to be that kind of content. So I literally am not allowed to do that. But I would have done that just for the joke. It would have been amazing.
Unless you did it in kind of the Sun page 3 style. so you have, the attractive ladies modelling the item and, sell. So what you're actually providing is press shots for fan manufacturers, but with models.
Yes, that could probably come into it.
Loopholes!
Yeah. And also, to answer the question of, what would I call this profession? I call myself an IT technician still. While I practice engineering, but I am not an engineer. Unfortunately, I do follow the mantra that engineer is a protected term. Now, I don't think you need to have a certification from some kind of institution to be able to call yourself an engineer, but I think you do need to be at a certain level of expertise to warrant that label. And I know enough to know that I don't know that much, if you see what I mean.
The more I learn, the more I know I don't know.
Precisely. And the more I work on board repair, the more I realise that I don't understand how something works.
Yeah.
And if I can't even explain how something in front of me works, how on earth could I even hope to be able to design it? And if I can't design something, then am I not an engineer? Yeah. So I refer to myself as a technician who sometimes practices engineering. That's the way I do it. Also, my sister is a civil engineer, and when I was talking to her about this, she was just like, I didn't go to 10 years of education to get my master's degree in engineering for some little snot-nosed brat to call himself an engineer. She didn't actually say it like that, but that was the implication there. So, yes. Also, there was a thing about, someone also mentioned about Elgato and Elgato being overpriced. I use some Elgato products. The capture card I use when I'm recording repair computers, so when I'm recording the HDMI output from a computer that I'm working on, I have an old Elgato Game Capture HD for that. I don't generally use Elgato products these days because I do think Elgato are overpriced. However, here's the interesting thing is, if you get something from Elgato, it's kind of guaranteed to be decent. That's what I think Elgato is good at. You're paying for an assurance of a minimum standard of quality. However, if you're savvy and you shop around, you could probably find something that's just as good for less money if you're willing to put in the time and also roll the dice on something.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, for example, the studio lights that we're using in here, these things were about, they were about 170 for the pair, I think. and that is significantly less for how much I think you'd pay for a pair of Elgato Studio lights. And these things are probably brighter than the Elgatos are. However, the thing is, when I bought these, I was rolling the dice on them. I had no idea if they were going to be good or not. Whereas if you buy the Elgato Studio lights, you know they're going to be good.
The Elgato ones also integrate with the Stream Deck, so you can change color profiles and set brightnesses through the Stream Deck.
Yeah.
They also synchronize with the thing on your phone and then Wi-Fi this and
if
that's
that
and stuff.
If that's useful to you.
Yeah, exactly. And if that functionality is a functionality that you need, it's something that's worth paying for.
Yeah. I'm a computer mechanic. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, I'm on board with that. Bought a laptop with 4 gigs of RAM on the motherboard, and 4 is that upgradable or worth upgrading? It's definitely worth upgrading if you can. Yeah. Without digging into the exact model of the laptop and stuff, I don't know if it will be upgradable or not. The majority of laptops will have at least one extra slot for you to put more RAM into. There's a couple of variations. Most laptops have 2 RAM slots for you to put modules into. A lot of modern laptops will have, say, 4 gigabytes soldered onto the motherboard, but an empty slot above that for you to put an expansion module into. And then finally, you'll have terrible laptops that just have 4 gigs of soldered RAM, or even 2 if you're unlucky, with no expansion slots. So you'd have to actually find out, you'd need to drill in, you'd need to open up the laptop or look up pictures of it. Quite often, if you take the model of your laptop and type that into, like, if you take, say you've got a HP Stream 14, you go HP Stream 14 into Google and click on images, there will be someone that will be showing a picture of the motherboard or something like that, so you can see if it's got a slot open in it or not. So yeah, that's about as much as I can say from there. However, you definitely want a minimum of 8 gigabytes in a computer these days. Anything less than 8 gigabytes is not a nice experience.
Yeah, I was amazed because our office computers are 8 gig at the moment, and I was playing around with them, and I was amazed at how they were all sitting less than 50% usage. But I was like, these are uncomfortably close to needing slightly more than 4 gig. Yeah. So I was like, you cannot get away with 4 gig. There was no 3. It wasn't like 3.1 gig used, so you'd have 900 megs free. Fine, you can squeeze through that, not a problem.
All it takes is to open up one badly optimized website that suddenly eats another gigabyte of RAM, and suddenly you got nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And I was just like, oh wow.
RAM is so cheap at the moment that 8 gigs is a no-brainer in my opinion. Someone said the other day, sort of, oh, what do you think of how high RAM prices are at the moment? I think this came up in my Twitch stream on Thursday, and I was just like, are you sure? Because I bought 16 gigs of RAM for a gaming computer build this week, and it was £56 for 16 gigabytes of RAM. That was 3200 DDR4. So it wasn't peasant tier either. It was,
I think the problem some people, or the trap some people have fallen into, is gone, oh, I must buy 3600 megahertz RAM, CL14 RAM, or something like that. Yeah. I must have this. Or, oh, I must buy this specific model of RAM. Yeah. Like, I must buy the the Trident Royal Z something or other RAM. I have to buy that one because nothing else will work in my computer. And it's a case of, no, that's not true. You should be able to throw any RAM module in any motherboard and it function. It's whether XMP will work nicely, which you start getting into the conversation with.
That's true. In terms of speed as well, is that, while it's a well-known fact now that AMD Ryzen loves RAM speed, however, it's also the fact that basically anything over 3000 is fine. You may get a bit more out of it if you go up to like 3600, but 3000, 3200, it's fine. I usually say to people, aim for 3400, and then in the worst case, if XMP is being a little bit squicky, you can always drop to 3200 and get stable XMP. Yeah, exactly. Obviously, there's a lot more to this conversation. This is a sweeping generalization, but that's the gist of it.
And it's also the other thing. Yeah, I was just going to say, to continue that and hopefully wrap it off, is the fact that obviously the other thing you can do, certainly on AMD systems, Intel Z-based motherboards, chipsets, you can try running the RAM at 3400 if you've got 3200 and see if it works. You can try putting 1.45 volts into it at 3.4 gigatransfers, see if that works. If it doesn't, you've not successfully overclocked, but you've not lost anything.
Yeah.
And it can possibly, if you want to spend the time learning, introduce you to very small overclockings, fiddling with some primary round timings and things like that.
Yeah.
And just be a sort of a kicking off point to go, I know I only bought 3200, but can I get 3400 stable?
Yeah, absolutely.
And just little bits like that.
And if you get a good combination, like I had this, one of my previous demo rigs where I had the Asus X470 Strix Gaming motherboard, and I had some 3400 Patriot memory. And in the Asus board, that went straight up to 3600 without even blinking. You know, I just had a really good combination there where the 3400 RAM would go up to 3600 without blinking. No changes to anything else. Just literally just said, run at 3600. And it did, and it was stable. So yeah,
absolutely. We
had a super chat back there from Dark Row. Can't do much, but this is at 3.33% of the 16-key Stream Deck. Well, thanks for the $5. Much appreciated. Mainly doing this because you helped me so much with your videos. Thank you very much. Love to hear that as well. Really appreciate that as well. Thank you very much. Right, we're coming up to about an hour, I think. So we'll go over. I'll quickly back read the chat. We'll go over a few more things. However,
absolutely.
Are we going to try and keep this for an hour?
We're aiming for an hour and a quarter kind of thing. Was roughly what we're aiming.
Yeah, we're looking to try and keep these at about an hour. Like right now, we could keep going with this. However, I think we want to try and keep these in bite-sized chunks that people can watch back later and not have to sit through a 3-hour VOD kind of thing if they want to catch up.
And also, these stools are only 1 hour comfortable.
Especially because you've got the super squeaky one. I've got the slightly squeaky one, and Caradog is on the really squeaky one. Sorry for everyone who hears the squeaks. So let me just quickly back up a little bit in chat. Let's see. Oh, there's loads of stuff I've missed, but I can't go through all of it. I'm so sorry, guys. We're going to do an Athlon XP retro build. Oh, yeah. Well, I want to do some retro builds. We were talking about this in the last week's episode, and I did start a series for a really, really super retro build. I've got a Pentium 1 166 megahertz out the back. I've still got it. However, I did one episode of that where I just did an overview of what I had, but the parts that I wanted to put in it, like an old Voodoo accelerator card and stuff like that, I couldn't get them for any amount of money that I wanted to pay for what I was getting. Yeah. And so it kind of fell by the wayside. However, I think an Athlon XP retro build, I might actually start one of those and see it through for running old stuff.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of, perfectly for the stuff that was pre-XP stuff, but you could make work on XP.
Yeah.
See, it's amazing how much stuff kind of fell on the wayside at that kind of point again, because there was just such a huge shift in the OS.
Yeah, that's that as well. Just basically any retro build that will comfortably run 9X, so Windows 98 basically, that would be a good retro build, because that's really where that's really that cut-off point is where old stuff you start running into trouble, isn't it? There's
also a gulf between about 2006 and about 2012-ish, where stuff just doesn't work properly on modern systems.
Yeah.
Because of crap like Games for Windows Live.
Oh god.
Because of stuff like
that was ever a thing.
Let's do a really dodgy version of DirectX 10 that has 1,000,001 hardware kludges in it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, but why? We had standards. Come on, guys. It's not like this was 1992.
Yeah.
It's not like we were trying to make this run on a PlayStation that has the same power as my wristwatch.
Yes.
Actually, half the power of my wristwatch.
Yeah. Dying Landshark, RDNA 2 AMD. We did mention this earlier on. It's coming soon. It sounds like it's going to be really good. Hold out for the announcements that are coming later on in the month. Is the TLDR there. Let me see. I've lost track of it, but someone asked about following traces on boards. Oh yeah, there it was. Surging Circuits, thanks for the board repair videos. I have trouble following traces, especially on multi-layer PCBs. Any tips? That's really tough to do. Usually, most non-horrifying motherboards, if you see a trace that seems to disappear, like it goes into a VIA, so that's VIA for the record, that's where it goes through the motherboard. Usually it'll pop up at the other side, but they are really hard to follow. The only way usually at that point you either need to have a rough idea of the board layout, so you need to know where you're expecting to find it, or you need a schematic for that board that just tells you where it connects to. However, that's where you start getting into limitations of being able to do board repair. If you can't see the via, then there's not a lot you can do. There's no simple answer to that one, I'm afraid. Microscope might help you. Get a cheap microscope. I don't use a microscope myself, but that's because this camera, this Logitech webcam, can do crazy macro, which is how I do a lot of my videos. It can focus to about 5mm, which can do unbelievable poor man's microscope shots, which is good for inspection. I think that's about it that I can see. I don't think I missed anything. Anything like super important. Yeah, we got all the super chats. I think that.
I'm amazed that, you know, first actually streamed one, the mess of a start that it was, and people still want to give us money.
Yeah, well, I was about to tie into that and just say massive thank you for the super chats we've had today. I really appreciate it. Absolutely amazing show of support, and yeah, this has gone exceedingly well. And I can I mean, we pre-recorded the first video for this not this Tuesday just gone, but the Tuesday before that. And when I published it, as expected, the actual YouTube stats on it weren't very good, but that's what I expected of this video. However, the core audience, so probably a lot of the people who are here and anyone who's watching the VOD of this, you know, they were just like, really enjoyed that, want more of it. And we're kind of doing these videos for you guys, basically.
Absolutely. And because we enjoy it.
Yeah, we enjoy doing it. And based on how well this has gone, this is really shown, because we didn't know how well this live stream was going to go.
No, exactly. As I said, I kind of expected there to be 3 people watching and no one talking in chat, and that's just kind of going, let's ignore the fact that we're live and just keep talking.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, whereas the fact that, you know, the amazing show we've had today, to me, just proves to me that we're going to be doing more of these. And I'll try and give you guys more warning next time. I think, are we thinking Saturdays?
I have penciled in my diary Saturday afternoons and Tuesday evenings for stuff related to this.
Yeah, so I think I would like to. I think Saturday afternoon kind of works better for me.
Oh,
personally.
yeah, absolutely. I was just thinking
we can say
having a meeting about discussing stuff.
Yeah, if we're not able to do it on a Saturday, we'd probably fall back to Tuesday evening instead.
Yeah.
Just had another super chat from Deminibs. Hi. Thank you very much. Before you go, thank you very much. Much appreciated. Thank you for the $10.
So if someone super chats Oblivion, you'll have to read it. Beep, you know what to do.
Yeah. Good stuff. Right. And Mike's Unboxing is doing a thing tonight at Live PM. Sure, have a free shout out. You can take that one to the bank. Certainly. I'm not doing anything at 9 PM tonight, so yeah, go check that one out. Do I have a Patreon? I sure do. I think if you check, I think that this live stream should have a description down below, which should have a link to the Patreon in it. I am running a Patreon at the moment. Currently, the only thing you actually get is you get access to the contributors room in the Adamant IT Discord, and there's a link to that in the description down below as well. However, I will be, as the project of getting a bigger shop and expanding the channel goes, I will be posting I'll be trying to post as much bonus content as I can, which includes up and coming stuff, things I'm fiddling with, things that I'm looking into and I want opinions on, that kind of thing. That's currently what people who are on the Patreon will get. Other than that, it's purely a voluntary thing for people who are just like, I like what you do, here's some money.
Yeah, exactly. That. And also, to follow on to that, channel subscriptions, memberships, that's what they're called on YouTube. Yeah. Memberships should be going live soon, TM.
Yeah, I'm working on getting memberships going on. We were going to get that live for today. However, I started going through the motions of it, and there's a lot of prep work that I actually have to do before I'm allowed to enable channel memberships. So yeah, if you want to do channel membership via YouTube because you don't want to set up Patreon and all the rest of it, I will have memberships soon, TM. And again, anyone who wants to jump on that train, more than welcome. Always appreciated, never required. So yeah. Right, then I think last couple of things. Let's talk about my soldering skills. Everyone's practicing. I have a ReFS file system SSD where I can use this thing because Windows doesn't support ReFS. No idea. Using exotic file systems on Windows is really sketchy. If you want to use an exotic file system, I don't know anything about ReFS, I'm afraid. You probably want to stick that on a Linux server and have it as a network share. Unless you've got any comments on that.
From memory, ReFS is something that was introduced with Windows Server 2013.
Oh, okay.
And as far as I'm aware, is only supported by Server 13, 16, and 19. Isn't supported by like Windows 10 or 8.1. It has to be on Windows Server, it allows for it's resilient file system or something along those lines. And basically, it's a case of it allows you to have a bit more fudgery in stuff and not lose data.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know anything about enterprise stuff, so that's obviously where my knowledge fell.
Yeah, that's the limit of my knowledge. Only because I was setting up a Active Directory domain controller. Going to format another drive, and it said, "Oh, do you want to do this as ReFS or NTFS?"
Okay, yeah.
And I was just like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah, so you don't want it on a Linux server; you want it on a Windows server. However, to be honest, my response to that would then be: do you really need it to be ReFS? If you're doing data recovery, you want to get that plugged into like a Windows server, get the data off of it. Then my advice would be just switch it to a more conventional file system.
Yeah.
Don't use exotic stuff unless you actually have a reason to.
In the sense of if you don't know what it is, certainly for file systems and things like that, it's probably not worth it.
Yeah, a lot of the time, like exotic setups, they're fun to do for a test setup if you're learning about them. Just don't use exotic stuff on production unless you actually have a reason. Is my answer there. Stephen LaFrance, now I have a good reason to get out of bed at 8 a.m. over here in Canada. Thanks for the 5 Canadian rupees, as they say online as tech tips. Thank you very much. And getting out of bed early is a good thing. So yeah, I wish I could do that.
Absolutely.
I start work at 10 a.m. Jaden E donates a quid. Thank you very much, Jaden, for the quid.
Excellent. Well, yes, I think we're going to wrap it up.
Yes, I think we'll have to cut it off because otherwise it'll just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry for any questions that I couldn't get to. There's so many of them. Thank you everyone for coming today. We will be back probably next Saturday, and probably we'll try and aim for the next time because I think 4 o'clock seems to work well enough for us.
Yeah,
I'd love to do it later in the day for our American friends who are getting up at 8 a.m. However, I don't want to be doing this on my Saturday evening. I'm afraid I want to go home and relax.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we'll see what we can do. We're still developing it. Stuff is still subject to change.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I'll try and give you guys more of a notification in advance when the next episode is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the only other thing I was going to say is if there were questions that were missed, obviously joining the Discord and posting them there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Might not get seen by you or I, but someone will hopefully be able to answer the question. Yeah,
join the Discord. It's going really well. We've got loads of people in there. We've got some people in the Discord who are really, really good. There are a couple of members out there who I've seen giving tech support in our tech support rooms, and I've watched them solve a problem for someone. I've been like, that was a really good fix. Good job, Yeah. Join the Discord for if you've got tech support questions, and either myself or another member will hopefully be able to answer them for them. And there's loads of people in there just talking about tech, sharing pictures, chatting about stuff. So yeah,
absolutely.
You can always join us there as well. Right, I think that's it. Thank you very much, everyone. Would love to order more stuff. Thank you very much for all of your support. It's been absolutely amazing this afternoon.
Absolutely.
Lovely. I think we're done, aren't we? Yeah,
we're done. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much, everyone. I'm gonna hit end stream now. So thank you, everyone. That's it. What games do I play? I will be streaming games on Twitch. Is it still on my chat? Is it still on my thing? It is. My Twitch channel is twitch.tv/NetherSem. I will be live tomorrow night, Sunday evening, 7 p.m. UK time, and I'll be playing Dark Souls 3. I play a lot of Dark Souls, a lot of Zelda, that kind of thing at the moment. So yeah. The Discord channel is linked in the video description. So if you roll down to the description, there should be a link there. Failing that, check any of my YouTube videos published within the last month. There's a link in the description of those as well. Right, that's it. I'm hitting end stream. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. Here we go. I'm clicking the end stream button. Bye. Are you sure you want to end your stream? Yes.
Bye.